Today is New Year's Eve, and this year it's not just a new year that we face, but a whole new decade. And it's at this time of year when we start to make a few resolutions, small changes that we can make to improve our lives. And as photographers, we can also make changes that will improve our photography. And so in this video, I'm going to look at 3 resolutions that you might want to make in order to improve your photography. Before we start, I do just want to say a very big thank you to fellow YouTube photographer Mark Denney. Mark gave me a shout out in one of his videos recently, and as a result, I've seen a bit of a jump in subscribers. I just want to say a huge thank you to Mark. Mark is somebody who I've followed for a very long time, and there are obvious similarities between Mark and myself. He has also just started his journey into becoming a full-time landscape photographer. He's a fair bit further down the road than me. He's also a fair bit younger and a lot more handsome. But anyway, I just want to say a big thank you to Mark. I really appreciate what he's done. I really enjoyed watching his journey and seeing him flourish as a landscape photographer, and also the speed at which his channel has grown. I think he deserves all the success that he gets. And if you don't know Mark, I suggest you head over to his channel and check him out. If you are new to this channel, let me take the opportunity to welcome you and to explain a little bit about what it's all about. I'm a landscape photographer and I'm based in the northwest of England. I shoot predominantly here in the Lake District National Park. In the summer of 2019, I made the decision to go full-time, and this channel is documenting my journey from amateur to full-time professional. Now, most of the time I'm out shooting and I'm sharing my experiences of that, but there's also quite a lot of content about the commercial aspect of landscape photography. I share an awful lot of information about what I'm trying to do to make a living from this and all the different income streams that I'm trying to develop. So if you're interested in that aspect of photography, then this could be the channel for you. If you are interested in my photography journey and what's got me to this point, then I've recently done an article for Shuttout all about my photography journey, so I'll leave a link to that in the description below. I've also written a couple of articles on my website that talk about my life leading up to the decision to go full-time, and also a bit of the background about why I made that decision and why I'm trying to make that jump from amateur to professional. Okay, so let's get on with it, shall we? Let's start talking about resolutions. So at this time of year, when we make resolutions, generally what we're doing is we're trying to make small changes that will help us to improve our life. So that might be something like getting more exercise, or losing weight, or drinking less. And when it comes to photography, we can also make resolutions there. And generally what we're trying to do is either to get more enjoyment out of our photography or to improve the quality of our images. The first resolution that you might want to consider is to make more time for your photography. Now, about 3 years ago, just before I started my channel, I would shoot about once a month, and I kind of limited my photography to times when the conditions were perfect, and that really limited my opportunities to shoot. And I found that I was only getting out occasionally, and it limited the speed at which my photography was improving. When I started my channel, I wanted to commit to creating a video a week. And remember, I was an amateur back then, and so I could only shoot at weekends. I lived and worked in Scotland, so I was away from home during the week. And so weekends were my only time that I could get out and shoot and make these videos. And so I agreed with Mrs. Sale that I could have one morning at the weekend where I would go out, take photographs and produce the videos. And that was generally Saturday morning. And my aim was to go out early doors, before sunrise, and take some photographs, enjoy my photography and create these videos. And putting aside that time and committing to producing these videos meant that I went out in all conditions, and this is where the term Saturday weather came about. So one of the things that I kept finding was that I would go out on a Saturday morning and it would chuck it down and it would rain, but I had to do something. I had to produce some images, I had to produce some video, because that was my only opportunity. And it really encouraged me to get out and try to take images regardless of what the conditions were like. And ultimately that's helped me 3 years down the line in my business. Because of course my business is not about my photography as much as helping other people to get the shot. And when people come on workshops, when they come on one-to-ones, they don't always get perfect conditions. So as a photographer, it's really helped me to work a little bit to the conditions. And so that's really my first tip for a resolution. Put some time aside for your photography and get out there week in, week out, regardless of what the conditions are like. The second resolution that you might want to consider is to start a new project. In the past, one of the things that my photography has lacked has been purpose. And so I have done a couple of projects that have helped me focus, and what I've found is that's encouraged me to go out more, and it's also helped me to produce a set of images that have a cohesive theme. The first project that I tried to do was to create a location guide for the Lake District, and that's now on my website. I completed that, and that documents, I think, 30 locations throughout the Lake District that I like to shoot at. Now, some of my other mates, some of my other YouTube buddies, people like Mally Davis and Andrew Maguire, they've tried Project 365, and that's where they try and go out and create an image every day. Now, that's a really big commitment, and it's not something that even I, as a full-time photographer, would take on. For me, that's not realistic, but for them it really helped. It really got them out, and it did what we were talking about earlier. It kind of encouraged them to get out more. They put a little bit more time aside for their photography. And at the moment I'm working on a project called The Hand of Man, and the aim of the project is to showcase the positive impact that man has had on the Lake District landscape. And that's why today I'm here at Rydal Water. And Rydal Water has a boathouse which is just across the other side, and this is one of the shots that I would like to include in that project. And when I arrived here this morning, it was beautifully still and calm, and there were some lovely reflections. And so I took a shot across the lake. I did a few different shots, but that's something that will possibly feature in my Hand of Man project. I should just say at this point, if you like that image, why not come here and try and get your own version? I'm actually running the last of my winter workshops here at Rydal Water at the end of February, and I will be joined by my very good friend James Burns. Now, all the details of that are on my website. I will leave a link in the description below. One of the other positive impacts of creating a project is that it encourages me to visit locations time and time again. I actually have a list of potential locations that I want to include in my project. And going back to a location time after time really helps you to build your location knowledge. And it also gives you opportunities to do things like correct mistakes. So in last week's video, I returned to Derwent Water, to Otterbill, to correct a mistake I made when I was there back in 2018. So if you haven't seen that video, you might want to check it out. Many of you watching this video will have completed projects of your own in the past, and so if you have any ideas for projects that other people might like to try, why not leave a comment below? And if you would like the idea of doing a project but can't really think of an idea or a central theme for that project, have a look through the comments below and see what other people have tried in the past. The third resolution that you might want to consider is to start a YouTube channel of your own. 3 years ago, before I started my channel, I was struggling to get any attention for my photography at all. I tried Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I was getting nowhere. About 3 years ago was the first time that I actually saw my very first Thomas Heaton video, and it was Tom who inspired me to create my own channel. And 3 years down the line, I'm now a full-time landscape photographer, and I'm trying to transition into being a full-time professional landscape photographer. Now, if I hadn't seen that Thomas Heaton video, if I hadn't been inspired to start my channel, none of that would have been possible. I simply wouldn't be doing this today. And so it's had a huge impact on my life. But in the early days, that was never the plan. I just wanted to share my passion. I wanted to reach people all over the world and to share my knowledge of landscape photography and to help other people improve and to inspire other people to get out with their cameras and to explore this wonderful world that we have. And I also made an awful lot of friends in the early days. Some of my very best friends come from YouTube. They are the photographers that I've met while I've been running this channel. And I include people like Julian Baird, James Burns, Tom Peters, Gareth Danks, and a whole host of other names. These are people that I have met through my channel. And I've said this many times before, that in the first year of my channel, in the first year of YouTube, I made more friends than at any point in my adult life since the first year of university. A lot of people will tell you that YouTube is saturated with landscape photographers at the moment, and it's certainly true that there are more people now than when I started 2.5 years ago. I was actually one of the first amateurs to start, and it was relatively simple, but now I think it's much harder to get established. And for those of you that don't know, it actually took me 17 videos to get to 100 subscribers. YouTube is a marathon, it isn't a sprint. It rewards people for continually putting out content. And I do think there's still opportunities in YouTube for other photographers to come in and establish themselves on the platform. And that's what I want to encourage. There's particularly opportunities for photographers who are new to photography to share their journey from being a complete beginner to establishing themselves and improving their photography and improving their passion. And so if that's you, don't be put off that there are very few people that have done it, and most of us seem to be quite experienced. In actual reality, although I had been shooting for about 10 years before I started my channel, I wasn't a particularly good landscape photographer, and my photography has improved hugely because of the reasons that I explained earlier, because it gave me a purpose, it gave me a reason to go out to shoot, it encouraged me to go and shoot every day, and it has really helped me to improve. And so if you're looking for the ultimate purpose for your photography, then YouTube is something that I think you really should consider. At this point, I guess I should share some of the resolutions that I'm going to make. So I'm going to make a few resolutions. Some of them are not to do with photography. I do need to get a lot fitter, and I do also need to shed a bit of timber. So those are going to be some of the resolutions that I'm going to be working on. But I also have a resolution for this channel. And that resolution is that I want to produce more content in 2020. And what I would actually like to do is I would like to move to creating 2 videos a week. So I now have the time, and I don't think I've been using my time since going full-time as efficiently as I could. So what I would like to do is to start creating more content for this channel. Now, I would like to keep the Tuesday video as the old vlog, the old style vlog, where I go out and I shoot and I share my experiences, and it's very much about my journey, the transition from amateur to professional, and I want to keep that as it is. But I would also like to start helping more people. I would like to help get more people to come to landscape photography, to develop the skills that they need and the confidence that they need to take part and really develop their own style and their own photographs. And so I would like to start producing videos that are perhaps a little bit more of a tutorial. So that's a plan that I'm having. Now this week we just talked about starting your own YouTube channel, and so this week I want to put out a video on Friday that shares a bit of the behind the scenes about how I make these videos, and gives you a little bit of an insight into how these videos are put together. So if you are considering starting your own YouTube channel, check out Friday's video to get a bit more information about how I actually put these videos together. As far as the new content for this channel is concerned, I am working on a series of videos at the moment that is designed to help beginners, people who are new to photography, to gain the basic fundamental skills that they need to get out there and photograph the landscape with confidence. So that's something that I'm working on at the moment. It's not going particularly well, it's taking a lot longer than I had anticipated. I am trying to write a series of articles for my website that will accompany the videos and provide a little bit more information. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. Once I finish those, then I will start filming, and I hope to be able to release that series of videos at some point in the new year. Now, one of the downsides of moving to 2 videos a week is that I am already struggling to keep up with the volume of comments that I have. One of the things that I always wanted to commit to when I first started this channel was the engagement with the people that watch my videos, and so I do try to reply to every comment that gets left on these videos and to engage with people, and that's been one of the real joys of having this channel. Unfortunately, some of you may have already noticed that I really struggle at the minute to keep up with that. It does take up a huge amount of my time. If you think it takes me about 8 hours to produce a video, I generally film for about 4 hours, then it's about 4 hours to edit that video and to post it up onto YouTube and do all of the SEO stuff that you have to do. But it actually takes me almost double that, 16 hours, to respond to all the comments. So you can see that's a huge commitment. And I think going forward, I'm not going to be able to commit to that. I don't think it is the best use of my time, bearing in mind that what I'm actually trying to do is to build a business. So unfortunately, it's with a heavy heart that I'm not going to be able to respond to every single comment. Now, I will still read all of the comments, and I will still engage with people when it's appropriate. So, you know, that's a change I'm going to have to make, and I actually feel quite sad about that. That's just about it from me for today and for 2019. I want to thank everybody who has supported me this year. It has been by far and away the biggest year on my photography journey, and I think next year is going to be even bigger. So all that's left for me to do is to wish you a very, very happy new year, and I'll see you in 2020.